We are live on Masti AVI right now. हमारा चल रहा है cooking show which is called Cooking Comes Alive, the only show of its kind across Southeast Asia, जहाँ पर रेडियो स्टूडियो से लाइव हम किचन के अंदर घुसते हैं और लाइव खाना बनाते हैं।
पहला अगर आपका स्वागत करता हूँ सिंगापुर रेडियो मस्ती 24/7 लाइव की वो महफिल जिसे आप थ्रोबैक थर्सडे कहते हैं।
रेडियो मस्ती 24/7 पर आप हमें दिल की आंखों से देखते हैं, लेकिन मस्ती एवीआई पर हम भी आपको देखते हैं और छेड़ते हैं। Best of audio and visual entertainment, games, star interviews, contests, full on Masti. Masti AVI.
Masti AVI.
Masti AVI. Masti AVI. Follow us on Radio Masti 24/7 Live Singapore Facebook page and watch all shows on Masti AVI tab on our app Radio Masti 24/7. Masti AVI, meaningful entertainment at your fingertips. Brought to you exclusively by Radio Masti 24/7.
A very warm welcome and a very good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever is watching me right now, this is of course Renuka and this is a very special show from Masti Media Network. In case you guys are wondering what I'm doing on a Sunday evening, well, I'm doing nothing better than talking to you, something that I've been looking forward to. And we didn't talk about this evening's announcement for many days. Why not? Well, in a very subtle way, we've been telling you that Masti Media Network is going to come up with something very exciting because we've moved on from being just a radio station, haven't we? You've known us for over 13 years now. And what we started as and what we are today, there is a huge load of difference. And thanks to you. And in case you guys are wondering what special stuff are we talking about today, you'll be surprised, you will smile, and you will at the same time think, wow, these guys never stop amazing us. Well, before we go on, let me tell you, I came to Singapore many years ago. In fact, I was in school in the year 1989 when I visited this country for the first time. And what did I wish at that time? I looked around, I was so amazed by the beauty of this country, by the organized way with which everything worked, by the way that people really managed themselves, the way the infrastructure was, the way the technology was even back then. And I stayed here at a hotel on Beach Road. And I was wondering if I could ever come back to this country. Little did I know that this country is going to be home many years from then. So you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about Singapore, we're talking about a very special show, but I cannot talk about it unless I introduce someone very special to you. I have a co-host this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure you will enjoy this conversation that we're going to have here on Masti Media Network on a beautiful evening. It is the 26th of March, 2023. Stay tuned with us while I get my co-host right now. Welcome, Mehek. Welcome. A Sunday evening. I didn't want to just let you be at home. I really wanted you to come and spend some time with me because there's something very special we're doing today, right?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Renuka, for having me as your co-host on this very prestigious and special show. I am totally excited about it. I think from the time that you mentioned about how you're envisioning this entire program, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I wanted to be a part of it. And then when you told me that, I would really like that, if somebody like you could come with me as a co-host, I'm like, yay!
Well, who else? Who else but you and I? So I know, Mehek, that you and I have a lot to share. We share a lot of common stuff that, we didn't quite plan it, really. We really never planned it, but somehow life had something or the other planned for us. So why don't I just ask you a very simple question, yeah? And that is, what is Singapore for you?
Well, Singapore now for me is absolute home. I think wherever I go, even if I'm traveling on a holiday, I go back to India, stay with my parents, or anywhere else. I think I start missing Singapore a few days down the line. I start missing the food here. So it's definitely home for me.
It is.
Yeah.
And well, I'm going to ask you so many questions now because we are slowly building towards what Singapore is all about and what it means to each one of us. You know, the first time I came to Singapore, as I was just talking to the audience before you came in, I wished I could live here.
Oh my God.
And little did I know that that wish is going to be answered. Well, I should have wished for many other things because that's when God was listening to me, I believe. But I would say that from then to now, things have changed in Singapore. It's only gotten better. But at the same time, I am amazed by the kind of ethnicities, the multicultural, the multi-language, the kind of people that we've met, you know, the kind of festivals we've celebrated, the kind of stuff that we've just learned and grown along with Singapore, right? So if somebody was to ask me, what is that one thing that keeps you in Singapore and about Singapore? I won't tell, but I want you to tell me.
No, I think it's my cue to ask you. Why don't you tell me? So what is that one thing that keeps you here and you don't want to go anywhere else?
Well, I think it's the way of life. For me, it has always been the way of life. So I belong to a place called Delhi, and I do love it. I love India. But whenever I go back, and you know, with all the chaos, with all the friends, with all the relatives, with all the family, and of course all the food and the enjoyment,
And the
the
goodness.
moment I get back on Singapore Airlines, I feel I'm already home.
Yeah.
That's the kind of connect that we have built with the country now. But if I were to ask you, what would you miss the most if you had to leave Singapore?
First
What
of
would it
all,
be?
I'm not leaving. Okay, just like to define my intentions. But if at all for any reason, you know, we are all like, you know, we come from different parts of the world and we stay in Singapore, we start loving it. And one thing that I will miss the most is the cohesiveness of various cultures and communities that we have
That
in
is right.
Singapore.
Yeah.
I don't think that we can get it anywhere else in the world.
I have not witnessed that anywhere else in the world. In fact, you know what? We all have stories. And the stories really make us very special. How we moved from our respective parts of the world, kind of moved to Singapore and decided to be a part of the community here. How we've engaged ourselves with the country and of course at the same time with different communities. We were talking about this before the show, right? That we had no clue about Chinese New Year till we were living in India, right? And then, of course, things evolved. And now Chinese New Year becomes one of the most important times of the year for us.
And I would say that for me, the food also, you know, when I came from India, Singapore was my first foreign country, I'll be very honest. I mean, you know, I had not traveled outside of India till that point of time. And I come to a new country to work. And so my taste buds had really not evolved for various different kind of cuisine. So I, in a way, feel that I was totally blessed to be a part of Singapore because here you are, you know, exposed to so many different kinds of food. It's just amazing.
Spoils you
And
completely.
and in a way it evolves you as well, you know, that you can actually go and talk to people about different type of foods in the world. I don't think I would have been able to do that if it was not for Singapore.
At the same time, I think if we talk about our professional and personal lives, right? So professionally, I would say the time I came to Singapore, I was actually already working with a firm way back in Delhi. And when I moved here, I moved with the same company. And it was a lot of exposure to many, many nationalities. People who had, of course, who were born and bred here, people who were from the best of schools and universities in Singapore. At the same time, people who kind of relocated from different parts of the world. And they were settled here and they were extremely happy to be, you know, kind of just enjoying themselves and living their lives, so to say. And I always used to look at them and say, will I ever, you know, be able to feel myself to be a part of this country? And I'm so thankful that whatever the dreams were, we all worked hard.
Yep.
You know, that is one assurance that Singapore gives to you, that you have to work hard, but at the same time, your goals and objectives is what you will receive. But why are we talking about Singapore today?
We're talking about Singapore today because we have something very, very special that Renuka mentioned that has been cooking up, and it's absolutely something that she has envisioned to the T, and she knows exactly how she wanted it to be. And let's have a look at what this special show is all about.
Absolutely. We will talk about that in just a little bit. But before that, I think, Mehek, I'm again very excited that we have some of our audience who are now joining. So why don't we just say a quick hi to Manaswini? And of course, at the same time, Sridhar, our very special listener, has something to say about food. What is he trying to say? Kopi siu dai, oh my God. Now, this is the kind of stuff that I need, I need to talk about. Because these are the words that for some reason I've never been able to translate. Kopi, I know, is coffee. But the rest of it, do you know?
I don't know, maybe we can ask the audience. So why don't you guys tell us what was just written on your screens right there. You can just put it in the comments. And yeah, this is how I think the interaction of this show means so much.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
This is exactly how this show is going to grow, guys. So, well, I have to say that just in about 2 minutes from now, we will be back here and we will tell you what this special show that we are launching is all about. So give us a short break and we'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Make sure you add Masti to your lives. Download the app today and stay energized and connected on the go. Radio Masti 24/7 Live, Singapore's only Bollywood radio since 2009.
Oh yeah.
All right, welcome back. And it is the time for us to do something the honors, I would say. So, well, guys, a few days ago, I would say a few weeks ago, rather, I was wondering, Mehek, that, we have to move to the next level. So we started 13 years ago as a 3 hours radio station for the Indian community with the only Bollywood radio, right? And Mehek came on board as the first live jock. This was 13 years ago.
Yeah, man.
And that's when we met, really. That's how we met. And then, of course, Mehek got the station to be live, and we went from there to, of course, Sundays is when people used to listen to me all the time. And then from there, of course, in 2016, we decided that we're going to stop the 3 hours expat radio FM, and we'll move to a 24 hours as the first live private digital studios for the radio. And of course, we continue to be the only Bollywood across Southeast Asia. It's been quite a journey. And then came the pandemic. And during the pandemic, of course, we started with the visual platform, which is Masti AVI, the Audio Visual Interactive. And there's the Masti RJ Academy as well. But now, we always wonder, we're on the National Book of Records. We've got the first international collaboration with Malaysia in the media industry. We've got this platform. What next?
This, absolutely. I think it's a very smart move. It was absolutely the call of the hour, I would say, Renuka. You have been thinking ahead of times and have been preparing for it, which is amazing. I honestly never thought that it's going to evolve into something so beautiful. And this has, and well done. And we are totally proud to bring to you from Masti Media Networks this very special show that we've created for you.
And what's it called?
It's called
The Montage of Singapore. Let's see it. And yes, so right there, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, this is the montage of Singapore. Well, in those very brief 15 seconds, we showed you exactly what this is going to be. There is going to be a beautiful array of guests, very special guests indeed, Mehek, we've lined up for us. And they are going to show their journeys. They're going to showcase their journeys right here on the platform. They're going to be talking about what is special for them in Singapore, what makes Singapore special for them, what is going to happen if they were to leave Singapore and go away, and of course a lot more, right? But this is what is made, what Singapore is really made of, the montage of different kinds of people from different communities. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea, Renuka. I am very excited to meet the prestigious list of eminent people that we are going to have on this show. And this is going to be every Sunday in the evening where, you guys don't have to really rush back. And, if you're going for a party, you don't have to sit back and watch this. You will have time and, you can check it out. You can see, you can also send in their recommendations, right?
Of course.
Of some people who actually are very meaningful in the way they are bringing the community together. So yeah, it's very exciting.
I just have to say that this is your show, really. This show belongs to the people who are residents in Singapore. You could be expatriates, you could be the locals, you could be naturalized citizens, you could be people who are planning to move to Singapore and really want to know more about the country and a lot about the ways of this country. But you know what? It's your show. And what's important is if there are stories to share, right? If there are stories that you have to share, then this is exactly where you have to contact us. It could be the Chinese, we're going to see the Malays, we're going to see the Eurasians, we're going to see some Indian expats, and we're going to see some local Indians, apart from many other nationalities. Of course, we have some amazing stories. People who've started very small and really grown big in Singapore. We've got people who are established entrepreneurs, people who are married across different communities, and people who are really achievers in their own rights, and people who just make Singapore. Right.
Singapore, absolutely. People who belong here, the sense of belongingness, I think that comes from being here, from being a part of this entire community, this diaspora, not only the Indian, but also you could be any nationality. You could be a Singaporean, you could be any other nationality of the world, and you could be here on this show. And we would love to have you here, have a chat, talk about the experiences that you've had in Singapore, and what really makes it special for you. Like, for me, Singapore is very special in many ways. I came to Singapore, as a solo person with one bag and 1 year contract.
And did you ever imagine you're going to be here 13 years later?
I have, absolutely no memory of me thinking that I am going to stay in Singapore, because I thought I'm always going to go back to India and work there and not do anything here, maybe 1 year, then go back, and then 2 years I stayed, and then 3, and then that went on to about 13 years. Oh my God.
Well, I had the 2 years free as well. And then right after that, what happened? After 2 years, it was 5 years. And then after 5, I stopped thinking and stopped talking about it because I didn't want anyone asking me, when are you going back? But well, here we are. Let's take a quick look at another message that we have here from Sogs, I think, as I see. All right. So I'm sure the community building is also something that keeps people hooked up in a country other than their motherland. And people like you, Renuka, contribute a lot. Great job. Thank you so much. And there's another message that we have right now coming from Ketki. Hi, Ketki. Really, really happy to see this initiative, Renuka. What does our sense of belonging come from in Singapore? What does it mean to be Singaporean? Well said. Well, I'm glad that what we are talking here is something that people have understood, because I was a little bit worried about whether they're really understanding what we're saying. So thank you.
This much communication skills we have, I think, and people are quite smart. But the best part is that they're resonating with it. They're connecting with it. And that's something that was the actual idea of this particular show today. So.
Absolutely. So, well, this is the curtain raiser, guys, and this is the montage of Singapore that is being brought to you by Masti Media Network, showcasing some very, very special guests that you will start seeing from the middle of April. Right here on this set, as you see, well, this is not the Radio Masti studios for a change. In fact, this is where we're going to be launching from. And this could not have been possible without the support of the National Integration Council. So on that note, Mehek, is there any last amazing words that you want to say, your pearls of experience before we close the show today?
Well, I cannot say about the pearls of wisdom, but I can say about something which is very important. Be there when we host the show, because I want you to watch it and it's going to be worth your time.
Awesome. Well, I asked for pearls of experience about Singapore. She wanted pearls of wisdom. She's so used to being wise all the time. On that note, have a fantastic rest of the evening, guys. We're going to see you on these sets. And in case you're wondering who's going to host the show, well, you will see a little bit of me and you will see a lot of Mehek as well. And I hope you will continue to send us your stories that we can feature on this very special show, which is called The Montage of Singapore. Spread the word. but we're looking at every collaboration possible to make sure that this show is a success and it reaches every household in the way that it deserves to be. Singapore and us and the National Integration Council, ladies and gentlemen, see you very soon on the sets of Montage of Singapore. Have a good evening.
We are live on Masti AVI right now. हमारा चल रहा है cooking show which is called Cooking Comes Alive, the only show of its kind across Southeast Asia, जहाँ पर रेडियो स्टूडियो से लाइव हम किचन के अंदर घुसते हैं और लाइव खाना बनाते हैं.
पहला आपका स्वागत करता हूँ सिंगापुर रेडियो मस्ती 24/7 लाइव की वो महफिल जिसे आप थ्रोबैक थर्सडे कहते हैं.
रेडियो मस्ती 24/7 पर आप हमें दिल की आंखों से देखते हैं, लेकिन मस्ती एवीआई पर हम भी आपको देखते हैं और छेड़ते हैं. Best of audio and visual entertainment. Games, star interviews, contests, full on Masti.
Masti AVI.
Masti AVI.
Masti AVI. Masti AVI. Follow us on Radio Masti 24/7 Live Singapore Facebook page and watch all shows on Masti AVI tab on our app Radio Masti 24/7. Masti AVI, meaningful entertainment at your fingertips. Brought to you exclusively by Radio Masti 24/7.